Hey folks, welcome back to FreepCast. My name is Rob Murray. I am your host, and today we have a special guest with us today. Joe Spear is not here. We have the new guy. And my first question to you is, you were known as the big dog.
Yes, sir.
And I want you to tell folks, I read the article where that came from, but I want you to tell our readers and our listeners where the big dog moniker comes from.
Yeah, so the big dog, much like the word diversity, is just a random combination of 9 letters, and it's been it cements just a reminder, just like the journey I've been on the past 5 years. I guess we're going to get right into this out of the gate. Get tissues ready. So June 20th, 2020, during the pandemic, when sports were shut down, everything, my life was just spiraling. Like, college was going terrible, life was going terrible. I started contemplating suicide, which I'm like, that's not something I feel every person, imagines or crosses through their mind. So I realized, like, okay, let's think this through. And then, like, it was 10:30 in the morning. I'm in my bathroom. Lights were off. I got one little bit of light peering from, like, the door or whatever. And I'm just thinking, like, I kind of played, like, what I thought my funeral was going to look like in my head. I thought about my mom, my brother, and all that. And, like, I was really ready to accept that. And then a second thought popped into my head. I thought about who wasn't going to show up. Kind of the people who I thought were friends, the people who wouldn't show up. And then, kind of like Bruce Banner, I got mad. Although I didn't turn to a green raging monster. I just, I picked my head up and, like, I looked at myself in the mirror and, like, my eyes weren't brown. I thought I saw flames. And then I decided at that point, like, doesn't matter what it takes. Doesn't matter how hard life gets. I'm giving myself a second chance right now. And now fast forward 5 years after thousands of miles traveled, multiple states visited, countless trips over the Mankato Bridge, riding shotgun in the drag race, covering high school basketball games at Mackinac Island schools. Yes, they have a school, if you can believe that. 2,000 miles in 8 days with a shot knee, and dog bite wound still healing, by the way. And now, all of a sudden, here I am in Mankato talking with you on a podcast, taking over Sports Desk here at the Free Press. So, it's kind of a cool journey. The story is definitely not over, but this chapter is one I'm really looking forward to writing.
So let me take you back to that question, though. Where does the big dog come from? The actual name, the big dog.
So that started with me and a roommate I had at Central Michigan University. I'm not in touch with him anymore. We had a falling out shortly after graduation. Unfortunate. We were real tight. A couple months after that incident happened in my bathroom, I sent out a tweet saying, hey, I'm coming back to Central Michigan Life for a student rep paper. And I had a tweet, and the GIF was of Roman Reigns, WWE wrestler, I used the GIF of him, like, when he announced he was in remission from his lymphoma. And the GIF was like, the big dog is back. So he kept calling me big dog. And then some of our friends kept calling us big dog. And then I never kind of forgot that. And then it was September, like my first couple of months in Escanaba, I was not in a good place. I felt so overwhelmed. In fact, it's like, I was probably ready to, like, tap out. Then I remember that nickname, and I put it in my byline without asking anybody's permission, by the way. Just did it my own. No one batted an eye. And then about 6 months later, I revealed the reason why, which is what I just told you guys. Mm-hmm. Is exactly what happened. So that's kind of where that stems from, and the UP embraced it so much. I still can't process exactly how they bought in so much on that. Maybe because there's just so much authenticity behind it, but it's like, they really embraced that, and that's something very special to me.
Wow. So let me ask you a little bit about before the bad times. Where are you from?
I am from Climax, Michigan. It has 700 people and 200 cows between Kalamazoo and Battle Creek in southwest Michigan.
Is it spelled like
Climax? Yes. It's 1 square mile, one blinking light, and the 4-way stop in the middle of town. My graduating class was 35 kids.
Wow. So what happened in the tiny town of Climax, Michigan that led you to want to be a journalist?
I loved sports growing up. I had undiagnosed ADHD and anxiety. So, being a small town, a kid that kind of operated a little differently than everybody else, I was kind of more like the outcast. So I stayed watching games, playing video games. I can't tell you how many Red Wing games I watched growing up, how I'm so used to Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond. Guys like Doc Emmer calling NBC games back in the day, those voices. So it's like, my high school football coach always said one day I was going to be the voice of the Detroit Red Wings. And then Spent a couple of years at Kalamazoo Valley Community College trying to get associates in business. Hated business. To spent that third year just getting prereqs knocked out. Then I went to CMU. That first semester I had an intro broadcasting class and an intro to journalism class. The broadcasting class was the only class, 8.5 years of college, because I had fun, by the way, where I fell asleep in a lecture. And then that journalism class, we had an assignment to tell a story from a family member, and I had my grandpa, a decorated narcotics detective, tell a story about how he confiscated 100,000 kilos of cocaine distributed by the nephew of Pablo Escobar and sent him to the electric chair. And people just bid in right away. Then, like, I kind of thrived in that class, and then I signed my major that first semester, and here I am talking with you.
So was there any sports event, like specifically when you were younger that made you think, hey, that would be really cool to be the one who tells that story?
I don't think it was more of that. It was just more of, my younger brother, Ethan, played every sport under the sun. He got basically like 98% of the athletic genes growing up. I will admit that now, because we're older now and stuff, and we're moving on with our careers and stuff. But, I was, every time he had a basketball game, a little league game, or a hockey practice or a game, I was always there. My dad, he always give me $2 and quarters to spend wherever, most time be the Wing Stadium Pro Shop, hockey card machine. I still got 3 books full, but it's just, kind of being immersed in that sports world, being used to that process. And then as I graduated high school, out of it for the first time, like, I had such a hard time adjusting out of the sports world. So my second year out of high school, I started coaching. So I figured out that kind of aspect of what it kind of means to build a program. And then I realized... What
were you coaching?
I was coaching JV football. Okay. I was the offensive line coach. We had a really good group, went 7-1. If Jake Lane didn't fumble the minute left in the fourth quarter against Quincy, we would have gone 8-0. I still love you, buddy. But yeah, that kind of brought me into the inside aspect, kind of more like how a program operates. And then I went to CMU, and then I always had that storytelling process. Just my ability with the English language was just so raw. Like, when I went to community college, I had to go back to English 98 just to get to 110, just to, move on to the English levels at Central Michigan University. The ability and the creative side was always there. It's just the mechanic side was just needing a lot of work. And
doesn't speak highly of the Climax High School.
Oh, no. Actually, my high school, that was kind of more me, the ADHD stuff, not focusing and locking in. My high school English teacher, Joshua Vick, he wrote at Central Michigan Life. He's the one that opened that door for me to realize, like, hey, CMU has kind of this program where you can write sports. So that English program, Climax Scots, really did help me out. The entire school really did. A lot of stuff I learned from there are still my core identity today. So, yeah.
Let's talk about Central Michigan University. What's the mascot there?
The Chippewas. Proud of that nickname, baby.
The Chippewas. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any pushback from the indigenous communities?
No,
that
so here's the thing I don't think people realize with that sport. So there's actually an agreement with Central Michigan University and the Saginaw Chippewa tribe to use that nickname.
Okay.
That we see a lot of these sports that still have those, like, indigenous nicknames, like with Florida State especially. 98% of the time it's because they still have a relationship with some sort of tribe.
Right.
So, like, you'll see with CMU sporting events sometimes, you'll see members from the tribe come and do like a blessing, kind of like a powwow. They have powwows at the school at least once a year. They have, like, they bring some people out with drums and do blessings and stuff, and it is the coolest thing ever. I wish they do it, like, for every home game, because it's such a cool, unique thing that Mount Pleasant has that not every college gets to have.
They come and they bless the team?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a pregame prayer. Like, no, just make sure all these kids stay safe, they have fun, nothing bad happens, nothing atrocious happens, just
Gotcha.
That sort of thing.
What's your school? What is that school famous for? You have any famous alumni besides Mitch Vosburg, sports writer for the Free Press?
We have Antonio Brown. We have Randy Love.
Antonio Brown.
Yes. We also have Jeff Daniels. He didn't graduate, but Jeff Daniels spent some time there.
Jeff Daniels, nice.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've had some other good athletes go in. Zach McKinstry was an all-star this year for the Detroit Tigers. He graduated in 2016. He got drafted by the Dodgers, wound up in the Tigers system, and here he is. A lot of athletes nowadays out and about, gone through Central. I mean, it's a good school. One of my friends I went to Central Michigan Life, Evan Petzold, he's the beat reporter for the Detroit Tigers for the Detroit Free Press.
Nice.
So, and yeah, we're also That journalism program, last I knew, is one of two accredited programs for journalism in the state of Michigan. So,
Really?
yes, sir.
Is the other one at Michigan?
Michigan State.
Not Michigan?
To my knowledge, no. It's just Central Michigan and Michigan State. Michigan State also has the grad program. So
cool. Okay. So tell me about the first story you wrote where you were actually like really proud of your work.
Yeah. So the first one I can say really proud of. I'll tell this story. So this was in Central. This is with CM Life. Our field hockey program was not in a good place at the time. Before I wrote a column, they had lost 30 straight games. It was kind of historically bad. And I kind of wrote a column saying, like, hey, something has to change. Like, these D1 athletes are competitive. I know it. But at the same time, like, this leadership group is like, this is not the right group to guide them, to get the most out of them. I tried to do that the best way I could. But also, when I went back to CM Life, I was just so raw, too, that I felt like I did some good things. I think it went over pretty well. Members of the field hockey program team still don't like me, but hey, so be it. But yeah, that column ran on Monday, and then by Thursday they relieved that coach of her duties, and then they brought a new coach, and I was actually able to talk to some of the kids, and like the culture in that program changed so much.
Wait, like days after the story came out, they fired the coach.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because they had 2 more games and I didn't win either of them. So,
that's called results, folks.
Yes, and also I also forced CMU to change their Twitter bio because I kind of mentioned like at the time their bio read a championship culture, like that sort of thing. 2 days later after that dropped, it changed to official Twitter account of CMU Athletics. So yeah, that's the first point where I'm like, okay, maybe what I write can make some change.
So you went to J school. Did anything surprise you about your time learning about journalism? Anything that you learned that you didn't think that was going to be part of the job at all? Or
I didn't realize how bad the pay was going to be at the very early levels.
That should be the first thing they tell people.
Yeah, that should be. Yeah. No, again, the undiagnosed anxiety and ADHD, I found that all out about a year ago, and I'm 31. And I finished my time at CMU in December of 21. So I had all these mental issues that I thought everybody else had. So I was, to put it lightly, a god-awful student. I was terrible. I don't think I graduated from high school or from CMU with a GPA above 3. But here I am now with this wonderful God-given ability. But I think the biggest thing I learned was, and this is from the late Robb Marmarelli, a good journalist should know everything, and if they don't, they should know where to find it. For some reason, that's the one phrase I learned from a professor that stuck with me. I had him for my editing class. I actually failed that class because I wasn't paying attention. Then he passed away, and he died 2 months later. He had a health issue no one really knew about. So that's kind of the one thing that stuck with me. It's like, try and know everything you can, but if you don't know it, know where to find it at the very least. Which also, being in Minnesota, everyone being so nice, it's not too hard to find things.
I work at the student newspaper here at MSU, and my favorite advice that I tell them, if you have kids in the car, by the way, you might want to cover their ears, but I tell them when you're doing interviews, shut the fuck up.
Yes, I learned. I played back my first.
Shut the fuck up.
I played back my first interview I did with CMU's golf coach at the time, Cheryl Stacy. I asked her these questions, and hear her talk From mine, I'm like, dude, come on, get it together.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned ADHD. I also suffer from that. How has that affected being a journalist?
There's this beautiful thing called ADHD hyperfocus I figured out how to kind of tap in and out of that has helped out quite a bit. It's helped me led to some really cool stories. Yes, there are times where I'm like, okay, that's right. Wait, shoebox, moon pie, all that stuff. All of a sudden I'm thinking about this thing that happened in 10th grade. But there's also periods like I had with yesterday writing a feature I'm working on. It's like, it was 3 straight hours of just plug and chug straight, no breaks, no nothing. I could just go into those spurts, which is kind of cool, but also at the same time exhausting. So it also opens the door to creativity because it allows me to kind of think of some things that most people wouldn't think of. This upcoming feature has a MacGyver reference. because it's about a guy building a car.
Okay.
So, yeah, it has its drawbacks, but also has a lot of its strengths and kind of more of being the creative writer, at least for me.
I've kind of had the same thing. I'm not an organized person, and that ADHD does not help. And like with focus too, it's often a problem. So what kind of stories do you want to be writing here? What kind of things can readers look forward to reading from Mitch, the big dog?
Well, my biggest thing is when it comes to journalism, this kind of sports writing, it's listening to the audience. And to me, at least for me, this is my personal take. Someone else may steal it, go right ahead. To me, at least with sports reporting, it's the same parallel as to professional wrestling to an extent. You gotta listen to your audience. They will know exactly when you're trying to be fake, and they will know exactly when you're trying to be authentic. You're trying to bring in new eyes as constantly as you can. Like, I can't tell you how many times in my previous job in the UP where I had people come up to me before a game and said, hey, I don't read sports. I don't know sports at all, but I read your writing. It's bringing in that kind of big of an audience. It's kind of that challenge. Like, I know with the UP, I figured after a while, like, what works. Out here in Mankato, it's so new. I'm in the point where I'm like trying to build relationships with ADs and coaches and everything and trying to figure out the lay of the land. That's where I'm at right now. But the stories I want to tell, it's like I just wanted, like, my big thing is trying to find underdogs that overcome adversity. Like, I think one I did recently when I was in Escanaba, there was this young lady, her name was Camry Floden. She was a 4-year starter on Mastique's varsity program. She owns every defensive record book they have. The day she broke the single game and career digs record was a really emotional game because the day before, her best friend, out of nowhere, died. Like, before the game, like, she was not in a good place. She went on a massive shopping spree with her boyfriend the day before, dropped like $500. Nothing mattered to her at that point. And then literally the day of, she had to be in school for 3 hours. I think 2 of it was spent basically in closets, just laying low, being by herself, and just grieved. Like, before the game, she had crying fits that were so intense that, like, she couldn't breathe. Before the game, like, JV game was in their last set, and she, like, couldn't breathe. Then all of a sudden, just, I think it was like 47 or 48 digs in a 4-set match. Something, like, insane.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And she was just so open about it, and she kept her emotions so well in check. It's like, those are kind of the stories, like, I love to tell. It's an underdog trying to achieve greatness when the odds are just so down.
Well, you certainly sound like you're passionate about that, and I think you're going to find that those stories are going to find their way to your desk, and you'll have a chance to write them and more. This is a sports crazy town.
Oh, yeah, I'm so excited for it.
I don't know how much research you've done into Mankato, but we love our sports.
I did a little bit of research on the MSU, at least, the least I can figure out, but yeah, I'm excited to be here. One of my best friend's wives graduated from here, and she was pretty stoked that, I'm taking over this job, so.
Cool. I have forgotten to mention the sponsor.
Oh.
So we're going to do that now. Minnesota Valley Federal Credit Union, serving a lot of counties. I don't remember them all from our list, but they've been serving South Central Minnesota for many, many years.
Wow.
They're actually very good. A lot of folks here have gone through them for various things, and
Awesome.
And they're very good to the Free Press, and we
Cool.
and we definitely thank them for sponsoring us.
Cool. Hey, Minnesota Valley Credit Union, thank you. Thank you very much.
How do you feel about you're going to be covering the highest profile sport for us is Division I hockey.
Yes, sir.
A lot of fun. The arena is full of people. It's great atmosphere. What are your thoughts on covering our Maverick hockey team here in Mankato?
I have been chomping at the bit for Division I college hockey. I got to cover every sport at CMU except lacrosse. They were all Division I. They had club hockey teams, a Division III club and Division II club. And I also grew up 25 minutes away from Western Michigan University.
Oh, my God.
And my aunt worked for one of their big sponsors, so we got to go to quite a few games growing up. That was back when the program was not in a good spot whatsoever. But no, I've always been a big hockey guy. I've kind of been waiting for that right opportunity to cover hockey. My first job with the Manistee News Advocate, they had a co-op high school team that was definitely work in progress. The UP, Escanaba hockey, I think this year is going to be the year where they could be the school that comes out of the UP to get to the Final Four down in Plymouth we'll see. Houghton, I think, is reloaded, but I've just been chomping at the bit for Division I college hockey, and it was a big reason why I opted to come here, because it's just like, again, like my high school football coach saying, like, calling the shot, like, one day I'm going to be the voice of the Detroit Red Wings. I don't know if that's going to be true, but I know right now for a fact I'm going to be a voice for Minnesota State University college hockey, and that is just, I'm so beyond excited for that. I could rant for like 20 more minutes, but I won't because we have time restrictions.
Well, you're one step closer to getting to the Red Wings by coming here, I think. Yeah, Western Michigan. I got no bad feelings about them. Good team, great team. It was fun to watch them. Bummer that they got, Mankato got them in the first round of the tournament last year, but
yeah, it is kind of a bummer. But also, it's like at the same time, I was kind of happy for the area, the Kalamazoo area, because it's like there's such a big youth hockey scene. I kind of feel like it's been shrinking slightly. So it's like having a national champion with a new arena coming, in that regard, I'm excited for. But as someone who went to Central Michigan University, I did throw up in my mouth a little bit when they won the national championship. So, yeah, mixed emotions, to put it lightly.
All right. So we usually end these things with Joe likes to have a quote from the previous week's coverage. We don't have that this week, but I'm going to ask you, is there any quote from anything that you've written over your career that still sticks with you?
That is a wonderful question. There's actually one really good answer. So one of the big articles I did was at the Manistee News Advocate was on someone named Hannah Harrington, and I hope she realizes how big of an impact she had on me. I did a 3-part series on her because apparently 3,000 in a small town newspaper for a word count wasn't going to fit. I went crazy. So she was about the same age I was, graduated same year, but she went to Bear Lake High School. Awesome 4-year varsity basketball player. Her senior year, they lost to Gaylord St. Mary in the regional title game. Had they beat Gaylord St. Mary, they would have played my high school Climax Scots in state quarterfinal round. We were that close to like matching up. She had 2 goals in life. She wanted to play college basketball, and she wanted to serve in the military in the U.S. Air Force. She went down to I believe, Spring Arbor, and then in the first couple weeks, she got this really rare virus. She couldn't remember the name of it, but her college basketball career was over. Done right there. So she took a year to recoup or not, and then enlisted in the U.S. Air Force. Then the first week, her ankle is like severely broken, like shattered. But even like, so she's going to be like, what gets through basic, I believe she's going to be medically discharged at that point. I may be wrong. Sorry if I'm wrong about that, Hannah. But even through that, she was still trying to help other people in her platoon, like run with them, jog with them, go through exercises with them. Like all this mental stuff. Then she wound up coaching, and now she's living her best life, doing whatever she wants. And she dropped a quote. It's like, cause she was unsure about talking to me about that in the first place. And she mentioned, I paraphrase this because I can't remember the quote word for word, but it's basically like, one person's story of struggle could be someone's survival guide. And that's what led to me kind of being open about my mental health. Because, like, the story I wrote about the big dog and stuff, I know that helped one person that was a dad. So, yeah, that definitely, that quote definitely stuck with me. Because, heck, I could be struggling, but I'm in a good spot now. And, one person I know at least read my story and found the strength to go get help. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Good story.
Thank you.
I remember reading that one in the clips you sent me of your previous work. So,
yeah.
Okay, that's all we've got. Any final words? Otherwise, we're just going to wrap it up here.
Final words.
All right. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.